Oh, one of the emails.
If I lower this, does somebody?
I am gonna go ahead and call the meeting to
One
order.
of these, it doesn't go down. That's throw the
Wait,
one.
I like this one.
You got the
It's next chair.
spreadsheet?
I'm gonna be here.
Okay, easy to navigate.
Another handle on this side, so,
It's okay.
yeah.
It's just. It's perfect. We don't need a new chair in the budget.
Bob, we're just getting a surplus.
Wow.
And,
All right.
Get a $5
So the
I do like that one.
couple of action items that I wanted to get through tonight in preparation for the next couple of meetings is really kind of how we're gonna structure this. We have no public comment or no public except for one person on Zoom. So as it stands right now, public comment's gonna hold completely until the end. So if somebody's not on the committee, we're gonna ask that they not interject until after we've done our deliberations. And we've had our presentation from the committee head or the department head. So I'll use next week's example. Jason and I believe Amanda are both coming to present the fire and rescue budget. We'll go through, they'll present, we'll ask our questions. We'll deliberate on how we feel about that budget. And then we'll open up for public comment. What we're trying to avoid is basically somebody who's not on the committee that doesn't have all the information just blindsiding a department head. We want to be able to have frank and open conversations with them and be as productive as possible with that.
So are there gonna be any parameters for public comment, like, you don't go on and on for 15 minutes?
It's same
and-
rules as at select board meetings, 3 minutes.
Okay.
And if somebody's had the same thing you did,
You might just wanna say that when it comes time
Yes.
to public
Yes.
comments.
I'll have a script ready for that.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you don't mind me
Mm-hmm.
interjecting, that this committee doesn't decide anything. For the
Right.
Town
We just-
meeting decides, so,
Exactly.
now granted, anything big that people are concerned about, maybe they wanna ask that question prior to town meeting, but. It's not like we're deciding anything for the town, we're just making recommendations
Right.
or asking the right questions, so to speak, of the different, town committees or entities.
So the other thing, Tyler, I don't know if this is important or not, but during the public comment. It just reminded me when you said you don't want them sparring with Jason or something like that. Should the questions go through? You?
Go through me, yes.
And
Questions to
then-
be directed at the chair, and then we'll make the determination on, is it something we can answer tonight, or is it something we'll answer at the beginning of the next meeting?
Right, because they may ask questions that you can
Right.
answer to right then, so just to have a process of,
Yep.
if we
Right.
can't answer it tonight, then we'll.
Yep.
bring information to bring, but I don't wanna see, somebody that's sitting here, like you said.
I'm gonna use the example when I came and presented the school budget last year, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Is the peanut gallery, kind of ambushing the department head. And asking a bunch of gotcha questions when they're here using their volunteer time to present the
I
project.
think it's really important that people know that ahead of
Yeah.
time, because we don't want people to think like, we don't care what you say, so don't bother.
Right, we're gonna ask the questions, we'll compile them, if we need more information from the department head, we'll get it and we'll present it at the next meeting. Or if it's something we can answer there, we'll answer it there, but.
I think you guys hit it. So on the fire department meeting and like there's three things, either the public or us, we were like, okay, we need more information on this. We
Yeah.
don't have to like finalize our thought
No,
process that
no.
we got it
So,
all
and I
ready to
can,
go, right?
on the schedule, it's built in that. It'll be tight leading up into that first public hearing. But the goal is we'll have a meeting before that to kind of finalize our numbers. We'll have a public hearing. We'll come back, have another meeting, have a second public hearing, one on a weeknight, one on a weekend, try to give people the best opportunity. And then after that, we'll come back one more time, kind of make a final budget. And then it'll go to the select board from there. And that kind of it. We do all the nitty gritty, kind of looking through things, asking the right questions. And then from there, the actual drafting of the warrant is on the select board. The other change is the warrant is gonna run off that total budget line at the top. So instead of at town meeting voting on each individual line, we're gonna just vote on the total town admin budget, the total. I think it's public health, which is fire, transfer station, and roads is all one, or I think roads are separate. But
If you wanna, is this what you're talking about, this first page that you gave
Yeah.
us? Yeah,
those are gonna be the warrants.
yeah, so
So
it's
some of them
fire
get-
and rescue and transfer station,
Yeah.
other help, community services,
Yeah.
road maintenance.
Yeah. So that way there, like, we have a budget, kind of what we think they're gonna spend in each category, but what that does is. Say, I'll use the fire department, say Jason runs out of money in his truck maintenance line. He's not tied to that number. If he needs to say, I've got a little bit left over in station maintenance, he can use that money in that line to cover station maintenance or cover truck maintenance. And it just gives flexibility within the department if they're off, but they're still under budget, they don't go over their total budget.
I think that's a very good idea.
I do think it's good to present it like this, but I also think that people are asking, what
Or,
does that mean?
Right.
Okay, fire
So-
and rescue, we're talking $382,000. Where is my $382,000?
so, and then at town meeting, we'll have this sheet printed out, stapled all together, and it's like, okay, you're voting on this, this is what it means. But that way there, the actual warrant vote is on the total.
Right, so you're saying that town meeting is not a line item veto meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
They
The
can make a motion
information is
to
still gonna
amend
be
it a
there
line
for
down.
people to look at.
But there's no line item veto.
And excuse me, after the public meetings and such, public hearings, having that full spreadsheet available.
And so after the next meeting, the first draft of this document will go up on the website.
I have a question, I'm sorry, I'm not on the committee, but I.
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay,
Oh, yeah.
ex officio. What about amendments, right, so not line item vetoes, but couldn't someone offer an amendment?
They can amend down, not
Mhm.
up.
Yeah, down, not up,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is what we'll wind up seeing.
Yeah.
In other words, I don't think it should be that amount.
Right.
The particulars in each of those broad
Right.
categories.
And then capital projects would be their own individual line.
Okay,
So like if we're pulling a project out of undesignated funds, that would be its own line. If you're doing something special like the solar last year, that would be a separate line. The fire truck, the Blake Hill Bridge, those big capital projects are kind of voted separate because they are big expenses, but operational budgets shouldn't be. And that's why and part of what we'll discuss tonight is identifying what is a capital project or a special project and what is an operational expense and should be treated as an operational expense.
Just a logistic, is this being taped?
Yes,
Okay,
and recorded and going on YouTube.
well, the only reason I asked is because I didn't know if anybody should be taking notes, you know.
So-
Like the old fashioned.
Well, and I'm hoping we'll test it after tonight. I want to test the AI so that way we don't have to worry about that. And then if it's an issue, we'll designate somebody.
Okay, just wanted to
we
make.
used it on the AI committee,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the ADA committee used AI. Spot on.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah.
It works really well.
Like translating it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we use it for all the select board meetings.
yeah. I have it set up. The meeting link will stay the same throughout the whole committee process. And it's already set up. So as soon as you start that meeting, it's recording. So you don't even have to turn it on, so I don't forget. Because I have forgotten a couple of select board times.
I will say that it does require somebody to go through it and
Parse it.
make sure that it's saying what we actually said.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not perfect by itself.
Right.
It sometimes
Like texting.
brings
Yeah.
things together.
Yeah.
Right.
So we got through that. Budget alignment process. Dorcas, Remy, and I are going back and forth on that. That's why there's a column that has a COA ID. That is to map everything to the chart of accounts. And then with them, we'll just need to work and make sure everything matches, but that's more process with them. So, because the budget's gonna end up in three spots. It's gonna end up on the warrant. It's gonna end up on what I call the working spreadsheet or the presentation spreadsheet. And it's gonna end up in the chart of accounts. And that's more of a Dorcas and Remy and select board issue, but it's there. So when you see that, like where it is, it's for them, so they know that we're putting stuff in the right spot. Presentation. Let me. I'm a big fan of how the school does their budget presentation, and they basically, as they build the budget, build a presentation around it. So I've started it.
And it's just, no, I didn't
No.
hit it.
All right.
Or maybe in my house.
Budget presentation. So this is kind of. I want to get that power button on the TV. So basically, for the public hearings and kind of to help present the budget, having a working PowerPoint of it as well. So that way there it's, and even when we're doing our updates at the full board meetings, having this just overview of the budget and kind of it right at the beginning outlines how we did our process, how we're coming to these decisions. I have these can kind of change, but these are just at the top, big headwinds that we're working against. And then I kind of get into a summary of last year's budget. And again, the big thing to remember is this is the only number we're working on. Is the municipal budget. About last year was about 2.56. The total expenditures coming out of the office is 6.6. 3.5, almost 3.6 of that is RSU 38 commitment, and about 600,000 is Kennebec County. And then we work about 2.6 million. About 38%.
That's a good graphic to always remind citizens about.
And then if you wanted to break it down by department, again, education is 58% or 53% of the whole budget, followed by roads, which is 18%, and then fire transportation, and then ambulance dispatch services, all that is another 10.
Building on Paul's comment, I think it would be really handy. I would probably take the top three categories and merge those, because people understand how little discretionary. I mean, I guess the roads are discretionary, but the school education is not. Roads, maybe a little.
Where are you merging?
I mean, I just think those top three lines
Well, I mean, you
equals
can't,
how much, that's 70,
Those top
85% of the budget.
you can't leave county off. County last year was the biggest
Right.
percentage gain, I believe, wasn't it?
It's like-
Yeah, school was
it's like
school. We did good
30%.
last year on the school.
I
We
guess-
really good. We
I
were
guess the-
2.5.
I guess what I'm saying is, what's
Yeah,
left?
that vehicle's like
The
30,
graphic that
that's just
shows
20.
how much you have.
So,
So.
So like, if you were to take out the mandatory expenses, it's 60%, over 60%. And then if you were to take like, we have to fund the town office to be able to do registrations and actually collect property taxes. And have our fire station, have the transfer station, ambulance services, dispatch for all of that. And then road maintenance and plowing, you're looking at almost 90% of the budget.
I think what it boils down to, there's very little extraordinary discretionary spending involved here. In fact, you know,
good to look at it all.
one could suggest that we don't need a lot of budget meetings because, you know, it doesn't change a lot. It doesn't matter how many times you talk about
Yeah,
it.
I just think a graph.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just.
No, a graph is, I know Kathy, and I love that you do that, you look at every dollar, which is good. But there's just fewer dollars than people think.
Oh, I understand that, but I think it's important to have all of that. Is this gonna be up on the website, this PowerPoint?
It will be after the fire.
Yeah, I think all of that information is really important because I think I'm just gonna go back to people want to know where their money's going.
I think that's good.
So, all three of those, if you put them all together, that kind of, people don't know where 85% of their
Yeah.
taxes are
I
going.
think another really valuable function of a budget committee, and I say this as a 9-year select board member, is making sure nothing gets missed. More eyes on the same thing. It doesn't necessarily change the needle much on the actual taxes, but a lot of eyes is good.
You
But
know,
there's just not a lot of things to actually debate. Did
I'll
we
use
cover
the-
everything? Did we account for everything? You
I
know,
used the fire truck last year. The select board had a number at 800,000. Carrie had a number at 750,000. And the quote we had back on the fire truck was 850,000. And it was caught through the budget process.
right. That's a good example.
So, those are the 6 slides that I had time to work on. Budgetary headwinds,
Those are
if
great.
you want to get some
That's-
feedback. This was kind of the trends from last year.
Yeah,
I
do the
can't see
whole-
that.
Yeah, either that or go
It's a little better.
to slide mode.
Or actually,
whatever.
yeah, I know
There you go. That was easier.
that make it easier.
We don't need to see
So-
you on Zoom.
Right. Post-COVID inflation is still high. We're still in that 3-4%. Everything's 3 to 4% more expensive year over year. And then on the flip side of that, wages aren't keeping up.
Well,
And
that's the thing too that we have to keep in mind, that,
So-
we talk about inflation, but wages aren't
right,
matching the inflation.
wages aren't keeping up and social security's not keeping up.
I know.
And then on the maintenance side, we do have aging facilities. Fire station's 100+ years old on building 1. Building 2 is not much far behind it. The community center's over 100 years old.
Salt shed needs to be.
The salt shed needs to be replaced.
Not 100 years old.
This building is what, 50?
Really?
Oh.
This
Is it
building
that
was built in like 74 or something.
Yeah, so it'd be 52 years.
Yeah.
My parents were born
50 years
Something
ago.
like that.
It feels like.
The Dr. Shaw Memorial Library just had a renovation, but they have elevator maintenance. They have the section that's older. And then roads is a never ending pit of money.
Can we just say inflation or like?
You want to
I
just
wish-
strike
I wish
postcode?
COVID would just go away. I mean, I don't know if it's related to that. I mean, it shows an era, but
Yeah, I mean, I can
does
do
it matter to
I agree
anybody?
with that.
And how about
Get rid of
ongoing
all
inflation?
that.
Ongoing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really.
I-
ongoing
That's okay.
inflation, yeah.
I agree with that, Karen.
And then population trends. We have a significant seasonal population that strains local resources for a very,
I'm not sure if I know what you mean by that. I mean, I'm not sure that's a,
They bring more money in than they.
yeah, I don't get that statement. Not to pick everything apart.
No.
but I don't get.
that's
the
why I
statement.
brought it back.
Yeah, yeah.
I will with like like the beach use and the parking downtown, and we have like a couple new stores coming.
Yeah, yeah. But they put a strain on parking, not on the
Fire.
beach stuff.
Transfer station,
Yeah.
That doesn't cost us.
Yeah.
money.
the transfer
No, but
station.
The transfer station, fire and rescue.
Yeah.
It puts more strain on the roads.
It
We have to
does.
maintain
Yeah,
a lot of dirt roads. A lot are private, but there's still a significant portion
The
that.
hose at the fire station.
I think you should go into Trio.
They bring in more than half of the revenue.
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, you should go into Trio and list all the waterfront properties, the percentage of the actual revenue, you're gonna see it's higher than the whole rest of the town, so. I wouldn't say it in such a way that waterfront properties aren't welcome, because they pay.
No, it's
Those of
not-
us who live here year round, they actually pay the majority of our taxes.
But you got short term.
Right. It is only exact, and I'm really going back and highlighting short-term rentals too.
Short,
Sort.
Painful.
short term.
Short-term.
So we have to.
That's weird, like short term.
Rentals.
So either way, it's not like we're making a mission statement, you were just making your own statement to the committee here.
Right.
correct? Right, so
That's why I'm saying
it's not like we got a word.
wordsmith it tonight, but.
Yeah, and I wouldn't just focus on the rentals, because I mean, like, Escapes brings a lot of out of towners in.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
one of the better
Was there-
places in town,
Yeah.
around.
Ooh. But anyways, we get.
I could strike it, we can come back.
No,
No, don't
take
strike
out.
it.
Maybe
We'll think about it.
exacerbated's a little strong, because that is people's business.
Further strained.
which-
You need a thesaurus.
Yeah.
But
It's a statement to the committee you were making,
Right.
not to the town, so it's fine.
Unless this
Yeah,
goes
but
up
it's-
on the website.
It's
Yeah.
gonna go on the
If this-
website.
If this
and-
PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And then if-
that's
Yeah,
all
you do have to
straight.
be careful.
Yeah.
So I'll strike it and think of something,
Yeah.
and then I just said an aging population that's squeezed by inflation, but also requiring more services to maintain.
Yeah, that's a good statement. And also the aging population tends to have a harder time with their tax bill.
Right, hence why I said strained by inflation. You know,
Okay.
Well, I think the other side
The
of it
more
is that
services
we're
they have.
getting more new houses being built too, so we have an influx of new residents. I don't have that quantified, but
Mm,
Yeah,
there's evidence
there are.
to support that.
that should be the.
I still think it's good for the tax
Oh,
rate
yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
Other people say, oh my God, another family to support. Now, people building new houses are spending, you cannot build a new house in this town unless it's dragged in from a manufacturing plant.
Yeah, I know.
For like under 350,
I'm
450.
well
500.
aware,
You can
because I
barely
just
do
got
that.
denied for a mortgage, so.
So I think new
Yeah, you're
houses are
better.
fine. And besides,
I
there's
work
not a
for
lot of families.
I went to
moving
my
in.
own
The
bank.
bank is the worst place.
Unfortunately.
And they
I
paid-
got somebody.
But people always say, oh my God, more houses, more kids. No, I don't think
It's
the
not.
school population shows.
It's
that.
not.
There's a lot of retirees.
I just wanna say something, I know it's just for the committee,
Mhm.
the seasonal folks, but I was just thinking about. Belgrade, right? Belgrade, I guess, probably pretty flush. We just looked at some numbers
Mhm.
yesterday, what they pay their folks and so forth. And they're doing really well over there, why?
Oh, they have
Hell of a lot-
extraordinary tax base.
That's what I'm saying,
Extraordinary
it's
tax base.
extraordinary, but,
They also have
but,
that strip of commercial that we don't.
okay, there's some
Mm.
commercial stuff.
I wouldn't wanna see Hammond's property tax bill.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Hammond person,
and,
business property tax.
I guess what I'm saying is that Carl's point that we get a lot from. Seasonal residents shouldn't be lost.
Yeah.
And that if that's true, then in the back of our heads, we might want to think about ways to cultivate that.
That's right.
Right.
Don't
Well,
call them
that's
an
fine.
exacerbated
No,
situation.
I agree with that, but on the other hand, what happens then is the people that aren't as flush as the seasonal people kind of get, it goes like this.
Yep,
So I think we have to be really careful and still make sure that the people that live here year round, they're not getting taxed out or whatever,
I think
because
that's
it's
fair.
beginning to happen.
Some of those people that don't live here anymore, that they were their family homes and they, for whatever reason, moved away, whether it was. Whatever, a million reasons, they're still their family homes that came from here.
Right.
Out of my graduating class of that lived in this town, I think I'm one of the only ones that still lives in town. Out of 30, 40 that graduated with me.
So I just think it's something we have to be, just have in the back of our minds that, yes, we want those people that are seasonal, because we know they bring in a lot of money, but don't forget those of us that live here year round and
Yeah.
have to pay our taxes
But
just
the
the
school
same.
budget impacts us a lot, right?
Yes, and
They've lost-
they're
They lost funding.
I
state.
think they're in the process of deliberating what exactly that looks like, because ED 279 came out and it's not great. But their baseline number that they originally came out with was still 5.5%. Because of if they did nothing, no changes to staffing at all, they were gonna look at a 4% increase. Just because of negotiated agreements with the teachers
Right.
union.
Between that and the insurance, I mean, again, we have no control
Right.
over that.
Is that county or town?
School.
That's a
School.
It's a
So
district.
that's Reedfield, Manchester, Wayne, and Mount Vernon. That's their budget, and they're having they're discussing. I know their budget committee is discussing ED 279 tomorrow. And that will be. From what I've gathered, I think they're gonna have a very different number than that 5%. And I think it's gonna be a lot. If they don't cut, it's gonna be a lot higher than 5.5%.
I'm surprised that the county was only projected at 7 point
Yeah.
something. Is that, how firm is that?
I haven't put their numbers in the,
Oh, well, it was in one of the budget sheets.
I thought you had it on. one-
I just had a flat carry on theirs
From last year.
from last year.
Not last
I
year,
know I
it was
asked this to
something.
the select board, but I'm sorry, but I forget what the answer was. Is somebody from the select board?
Bob is,
And he gave us a little bit of a report
yeah, he did.
the
Okay,
other day, and I think
He was gonna give
that it was gonna
supposed to
be
be
better
a-
than last year.
okay,
I think it might, the hospital, the inmate hospital issue may have been resolved. That
Okay.
was the big driver last.
excellent. It's just great to know that somebody from the town is.
And
sitting
then,
around
I mean,
it.
I'll use another one, Winthrop Ambulance pushed out a new contract
Right.
last year. And I think we're gonna end up. We'll have to work through this. Having to probably build a reserve fund that just kind of sits around in limbo, because right now, because of how rescue is set up, they're not a transport agency. Winthrop Ambulance gets dispatched automatically. If our EMTs get there and they discern that this person doesn't need medical treatment, where they deny medical treatment, deny an ambulance, the town is getting billed for that ambulance fund.
Hmm.
And then on the other side, Winthrop Ambulance comes, picks up the individual, and they don't have insurance and they don't pay, the town is responsible for that transport.
I don't know.
Yeah, and that was negotiated last year.
That was last year,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember
That
that.
wasn't so much.
Oh, so that's-
No, that was
This is the way it's gonna be.
right.
So, are they still gonna do dispatch?
They are still doing dispatch.
Okay,
So we're still through Winthrop Dispatch for fire and rescue. And then Winthrop Ambulance for ambulance. I think it's what I think is right now when you call, you go to Androscoggin. And I think something with that is changed. There's rumblings that something there is changing.
okay.
Whether it's changing from Androscoggin over to either Waterville or there's something changing in there.
But it's not gonna change.
When the
Winthrop.
fire gets there, town is still coming from Winthrop. I think it's when you call 911, it goes to like 3 different people before you actually get to Winthrop Dispatch, and Winthrop dispatches fire and rescue.
But did you just say they're,
Both of them went up pretty substantially
Yeah.
last year. So
Hmm. Yeah,
Hopefully not so much this year.
hopefully not as much this year.
yeah,
And then the other one we need to look at is on a couple of these services, Vienna revenue shares with us, and those numbers are out of whack.
Please do something about them.
well, they haven't gone up much for years. If that's what you mean.
Fire and rescue, it's 1%, and they're 30% of the call volume.
that should.
What's the staffing ratio though? They've had more people staffing. They only have.
So there's one member is from, but we're paying the staff.
Right, so,
So there is somebody from Vienna, somebody from Fayette, somebody from Reedfield, and 2 from Mount Vernon, but
alright,
we're still covering their payroll.
okay,
And we're covering for them to be on shift.
okay. So, are we talking to Vienna about increasing their share?
That's,
Something we need to do.
we are going
Yeah.
to, yes.
Yeah,
How many calls do we do?
217, I think, last year, and 60 something of them were in Vienna. It was 30%.
by the way, Vienna's grumpy as hell right now, just because of their reevaluation.
And they pay, just to be clear, they pay
3,500
literally.
Wow.
a
5%.
year.
217 was
Rescue.
just rescue.
Just rescue.
Not fire.
So fire is different. We have an interlocal agreement with Vienna, Reedfield, Wayne, and Fayette, where if there's a structure fire in one, all 5 towns go. And that one there's never been a revenue sharing. Everybody just funds their department with the understanding that there's a rotation of structure fires and everybody needs some manpower. Rescue's different, where we have 2 people on call that will respond to all Vienna rescue calls automatically. Like
People in Mount Vernon on call all the time.
2 people either from Mount Vernon or from Vienna,
It-
but we pay the salary.
It's
so
a
they-
shared department, the
Yeah.
rescue.
But we cover most of the budget, and it's our liability.
So this is all for next week though, right?
Yeah. I'm just using it as kind of, some of it is that it's more getting to like how we're gonna work through these numbers and what recommendations are gonna get kicked out, kind of going. And again, that's kind of why I bring that up is how do we want to handle with, there is a shared. And that number is remaining flat, how do we want to go about making that recommendation of, do we need to go back and say this needs to change? So, there's that. So now kind of getting into the last piece is strategic planning and guidelines. How do we want to determine what is capital? What is a special, I want to say a special project, like a one-off thing, and what is operational? And I'll kind of open up for people's thoughts.
You mean like dollar amounts or?
I wouldn't say, I mean, capital, I would say capital would be like over 25. But you still are gonna have like special one-offs, like I'll use my technology line for the select board. That's a one-off. I mean, it was a one-off last year. I'm gonna make another request this year to do some more work down at the community center to improve the audiovisual experience down there. But the steps on the community center, the ramp project, the fire department is looking at air packs and turnout gear above and beyond what they normally purchase.
Salt shed.
The salt shed.
So you're saying all these things are special?
Some of
projects?
those, what we need to determine, is this like operational maintenance or is this a capital project and a one-off?
So what's the difference between a capital
The
project?
capital, the way it's taught in business school and the way I've always looked at it is like a roof, structural improvements to your building that are not minor.
It has longevity.
Longevity, something that's like a long-term like a long, brings longevity to the project or is a new asset. It improves the asset.
Yeah, I agree that this committee and or select board should set a dollar amount, at which point that becomes a standalone capital improvement versus, you find it in your budget to
Right.
do. Like, if you need to replace 2 computers in here, that's not a capital, that's just a in the normal budget,
Right, like the fire department is upping their maintenance line to do repairs to the alarm. It's like $5,000. That's in there.
Right.
What kind of alarm they got?
The sprinkler alarm.
Oh.
Hello.
We need it here.
It's cheaper.
Actually, you'll probably want to be part of this discussion. We're discussing capital, what is classified as capital, a special project or a one-off, and what is operational.
Well, I thought capital expenses typically have a depreciation of X amount of time. And so that's one way to define it.
Yeah,
Actually, believe what IRS does.
Yeah.
Is it 27 years?
Well,
Yeah,
depends on-
depends on what it is, but there's something that are much shorter.
That, yeah, it does have a useful life and more than a year typically, but.
Yeah.
And the life assigned would be based on what the estimate is for it.
Would you set a dollar amount on that as well?
Typically, an organization would set a threshold.
Yeah.
Like, 2,500, 5,000. And anything less than that, even though it may be defined or qualify as capital, would just be expensed. For expediency,
Could you give an example?
a car,
Okay.
so you spend, well, these days. Thousands of cheap cars, so you wouldn't expense that, you would probably, a business would purchase a car and depreciate it over 5 years.
that's another good way to look at it. Yeah.
Or a new trash compactor or something of that.
Fire truck.
Yeah. So a $5,000 line item in the operating budget isn't necessarily that category.
Right, that's why I was aiming more at like 20, over 25 for a total project cost.
Yeah.
Would be capital, and I think you'll still have a couple of one-offs. Where it's like. There's a high dollar amount on it,
I
but
don't
it's,
know if the dollar amount is the right way to do it.
No, I think it's what is the purpose, because you
Yeah.
have a big project that might just be a repair.
Mhm.
Are we anticipating any of these this year based on what we already know?
The community center stairs, yeah.
Yeah.
And the ramp,
And,
and then the fire department is asking for 8 sets of turnout gear and 6 new air packs because the air pack standard changed.
Yeah.
And so the new truck has one set type of bottles, and the other 2 trucks have another type of bottle.
Oh, so they wanna bring them all up. to
And
the same-
all of mutual aid except Vienna has switched over to the new packs now.
And how long do those last generally?
Oh, wow.
20. Like 15, 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, brand new.
That would be.
that's a good example of a.
That would be capital. They were gonna treat it as capital.
So what happens if, those are made fit to the person, right?
No,
They're
turnout
not.
gear, yes, air packs, no.
Okay, well, I was talking about the turnout gear though. So what happens if that person leaves?
So
What happens to the turnout?
We
gear?
put it upstairs in the station and then, when somebody else new joins, we try to mix and match all of the different leftover sets to fit people. What has happened is during COVID, a lot of firefighters quit. So there was a flood of gear there, but a lot of it wasn't new at the time. So you got a lot of guys and girls now, who are in older gear that's good for training, but you wouldn't send them to a structure fire with it, or they have ill-fitting gear. Like I'll use myself for example. I have a jacket, and it's too tight. So I was at a structure fire in September and I almost passed out because my jacket was too tight and I was running around. But like there's other people that their jackets don't even zip, and
Mm.
per OSHA rules, they can't even go to a structure fire like that.
Okay. So are you suggesting that tonight this committee makes a recommendation on
Yes.
that amount?
Kind of, because that way there you can, with capital projects, I would say a lot of those, that's where you would look at like undesignated funds to prevent a fluctuation in taxes. So that's where you would take those capital projects to look at, can we use undesignated funds for that? So that we can knock out those longer term projects with undesignated funds.
So Dorcas, you were talking about a lower threshold number, but is it a more complex equation than that?
No, I was wondering if the town already has capitalization policy. I was gonna look in the audit and see, sometimes it would be listed there. I guess, so the auditors would have used some sort of a threshold in the past.
Yeah. I think the only thing we've done is had raised money in advance, you know. We did that for roads, we did that for this building, you know, added 5,000 to build up
Mhm.
the capital improvement fund for a specific purpose. That's different than identifying, you know, a $10,000 individual item that has to happen. There's a capital investment.
But that's part of, I think, what your strategy is
Yeah.
to build up that
Right.
reserve fund so that,
Yeah,
you know.
There's,
X
it's
years
that
out-
and, you know, we need to start doing that because it would make things like the sand salt shed a lot easier. You know, you identify, 10 years down the line, we're gonna need to replace this. Okay, it's gonna cost X amount of dollars with inflation.
yeah.
We can start allocating that money versus having to float a bond or,
So some of those items could in fact be separate warrant article
Right.
items.
and that's the other piece is that they're presented differently than operations. So that way there, if the town doesn't want to do the sand salt shed this year, that individual piece can get voted down without voting down the whole transfer station budget.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good approach. So Tyler, you gotta suggest,
My suggestion was around 25, but I think going lower to closer to maybe 10,000.
what are you comfortable with going for?
10,000 sounds like a lot.
A lot,
Yeah.
even lower.
Yeah, in terms of the accounting policy
Yep.
to capitalize something, it's different as to how you may build up the funding, but I think 5,000 is pretty much the most I've.
For a
seen in
one-off.
Relatively small organization,
Anything over 5,000 is capital project for a one-off.
as long as it,
Yeah, is a depreciating asset.
Wait, would that also suggest that if the fire department has a $5,100 line item for something that they consider an operating expense, you would want it treated as a capital? No,
operating is operating, capital is capital.
Okay.
It
So,
might
like,
particular.
Maintaining, like the repair to the sprinkler arm probably could be treated as capital or operational.
Repair.
Yeah, it's a
It's an
repair.
expense.
Yeah.
If you replace it.
No,
if
it's a repair
so
to the
if you
existing
have an
system.
Existing item and it needs
It's end of
replacement.
life.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, if you extend the life,
Yeah.
technically, that would be capitalized, but
Mhm.
if it's just keeping it within its estimated useful life, you
but,
have. your-
so there's really two values. One value is what do we consider capital improvement? There's a second value, which what warrants a separate
Yeah.
article on the.
Right,
warrant.
that's why I
They're
said-
Not necessarily the same thing.
Right, that's why I was saying, I think to be a separate line would be that 25,000.
I see.
To be voted on special at town meeting, to be a separate line item.
No, cause
Oh,
it messes
okay.
with their budget for the year, because it's a one project thing, like fixing this.
Yeah.
You're not gonna fix that thing next year. I'm sure something else will break, but
Mhm.
But that's,
it's
isn't
not.
that the nature of the budget, is that?
Right,
But
there
not
would
with-
be,
Not within.
what you're
the
trying-
budget. If
right,
you-
what
capital
I guess what I'm getting at is there's gonna be a little bit of that swinging, because you have repairs that come in. But what we're trying to separate out is, we're not gonna rebuild the ramp at the community center every year. So you separating up projects like that, we're not buying a bunch of turnout gear every year, we're buying one set every year. We're not repaving Sadie Dunn Road every year, we're doing it once every 100 years. And I think that's gonna be the big one that this is really gonna impact is roads. Is looking at the road budget and how we,
Yeah, no matter what you call it, we still typically vote on that separately,
Right.
so. Yeah,
but like I'll use the construction line. At town meeting last year, we were told the construction line was being used to do Sadie Dunn. And then this year we did Cottle Hill. So spelling some of that out throughout the process.
Just a quick example I want to give to clarify your earlier point, Paul, what's capital versus expense? Maybe say a laptop is a good idea. That's obviously got a useful life of several years, 3 to 5 years. But since it's probably costs about $1,000, you're just gonna call it an office supply.
right, right, that's why I mean it, one size doesn't fit all there, really, yeah.
But maybe the 5,000, it works for you accounting wise, but gives us all pause to what that project is.
Right.
I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter that much, but conceptually, we should set
Yeah.
something and move on.
It matters in accounting though, doesn't it?
It matters for accounting, so that's why it's
Yes, when the
important.
auditors come.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, right now, when we're working on wrapping up the FY 25 audit, we're doing fixed assets and trying to figure out how we identify in all of our expenditures what were true capital items.
So do you just wanna go with 5,000, leave it at that?
I'd like to see if there is a policy, but 5,000 sounds reasonable if there isn't. And if there is a policy that's lower, maybe we would.
Yeah.
Increase it, so I don't know.
And then if there's not a policy, would you recommend that gets kicked back to the board to have a policy made?
Fixed assets capitalization policy, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are, that would be.
I don't
kind of an
believe there, I mean, I
policy.
can
don't think
pull
I've ever
this.
seen that.
I agree that anything to make audits go smoother, because we have this terrible history of not getting them done. And so if we can set ourselves up, the town, to have audits go really, really smooth, it'll help.
Or no, that'd be under policy. Policy.
We don't wanna see it outside of the state boundaries multiple years.
Advertising,
It's one of
drug
the
and
ads
alcohol,
that goes
bidding
down
and
before it.
procurement, might be in that one.
Nobody sues you if you miss it,
Competitive bidding.
still. And it's important, that feedback that we get. That goes beyond you, it goes to these guys and it goes to this committee, so I think that's really
Yeah.
valuable.
It's not in the bidding policy, billing times, check acceptance, harassment, wage disbursement, financial, gift solicitations, education cost.
Not in financial.
Now financial,
Well, that's a select board issue, so we should just move on.
Yeah.
In
It
the
should be
interest
in
of.
the, you know, in the.
That's the-
Time.
There are.
Everybody who doesn't live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, stomach growling.
and then
Pick
I,
that up. Dorcas, would you write a 2 paragraphs or a paragraph on that? Precisely what you're recommending the board do. I have a feeling we're gonna take it out.
yeah,
If it doesn't
And
exist.
to rely upon experts' advice on that, of
On
this,
On
creating
a
this policy.
fixed asset cap, yeah.
Yep. Yep,
Thank you.
which
What your recommendation would be?
my recommendation would be to have an accounting manual, and one section would be capitalization policy.
Oh, that's a bigger project.
But
Yeah.
that's-
Yeah.
that's not-
That just became a capital project.
in and of itself.
That's all
Budget-
right, Tyler will have AI right one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Tomorrow morning.
Just type it right in there, give it, yeah. I guess that leaves the next big one. What's the acceptable range that we're thinking for an increase? Or what is, I wouldn't, there's always gonna be an increase just by the nature of inflation. Because you figure employees get pay raises and things like that. What is the range where you pause and you say, no, this is out of line with where we're trying to be?
Well, relative to last year or?
I would relative to the financial conditions of the town.
What was last year, 4.6?
Well, last year we voted to spend $235,000 we didn't need to spend, but, so it's all relative to sanity, really.
But what was the increase last
Oh,
year?
we would have had that free power for many, many, many years, but.
No, what was the increase of?
The percentage.
The percentage of increase of the budget last year.
Let me check.
I'm just saying that some of these things you can't control unless you do something to control them.
It's just a simple fact question, what was last year's year?
Oh, well,
For
well, one of the
fiscal year
biggest
24,
expenses that goes up that's outside of our control, is
Not my
power.
question.
Um,
What was the percent change from 2024
I
to
have no
2000?
idea.
That's what I'm,
That's okay.
that's what I'm trying to pull up.
That's just it. I feel like you guys said 4.6, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So overall, the budget went up 7.51%.
I like 4.6 better.
But that was school and county, because county went up 27% last year.
Okay, with school
Was that
and
for-
Yeah,
county.
there was a big jump on county.
To the same number for prior years?
No, that's the percent of the total
Oh, I
budget.
understand that, but is that?
Yeah, that's last year's.
Okay.
I don't,
Some things have been stable, fuel prices have been stable.
I'm looking at percentages right now, so
What's the
County.
cost of living, like there's a national, isn't it cost of living?
it's like 3.
Like that?
It's 3.
I mean,
I use CPI.
for that one,
CPI.
yeah.
Oh, that's we don't want the UK's.
Oh, we don't, no,
We don't have the UK's.
McDonald's has been like 50%. You
What?
can't get a burger for like less than $4 now. Inflation and fast food has just been outrageous.
Oh, wow. Oh, that did spike.
Pay someone $20 an hour.
What is it, Tyler? What was it?
Consumer price index for December rose 2.7, and with the government shutdown, we don't have,
Is there an annual one?
that is annual.
Oh, okay.
So CPI, it's 2.7% over December of 24.
And what is COLA? Is that a number that? we
That's
use?
that's social security costs, so.
That's insurance.
Okay.
Sure.
Cost of living?
About the same.
Cost of living adjustment.
That's insurance?
Adjustment. Part of it. It's part of it.
2.8.
So 3 would sound high, but.
So last year
Could be
was two
something
point
we could
eight.
work with.
No, that was COLA and
Oh, that was
that's
COLA.
current inflation rate. I'm trying to math last year because it's not.
It's just really tough because we said an hour ago. 85, well,
So I can,
depends on the. road.
I can give
But really,
I can give
65,
percentages for each, I
70%
can't give a total percentage, but I can do like each section of the budget.
Is
Almost
So
90%.
town operations,
out of our hand.
town operations was 15%, 14.96.
Increases?
Yeah,
Last year.
last year. Protection and health, so fire and rescue, other and transfer station, 14.8%.
Wait a minute, fire rescue transfer and what?
Ambulance and all that
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
14.8.
We have a session for just municipal budget,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, so we can compare those.
Um,
I think some things have stabilized. though.
road work, 7.8%. Or 7.49%, sorry.
'Cause when the price of fuel goes down a little bit, the price of paving generally
Right.
goes down, for example.
And then for recreation and community was 17.45%.
Is there a total of what the?
No.
But you could.
There's a
maybe
grand
cut out
total
my
with
next week.
school is 7.25 or 7.5.
So, yeah, okay.
Could you figure that out for next week, do you think, if you sat down and looked at it?
Yeah, I could.
I don't
could
mean to
math
put
it.
you on the
No, I
spot,
can
but
math it out.
we should know what we did to know where we're
Right.
going.
I mean, eyeballing it, I would put it somewhere in the 10.
Do we have any municipal items that are in multi-year contracts or, you know?
Plowing,
Mowing.
Yeah, so plowing.
mowing is multi-year.
I was told it was a 5-year budget.
So some of that's predictable in
5-year.
that regard,
Right.
and other things like
They're
propane and
multi-
I think-
fuel oil can
I
go
think-
up and down.
And
Winter ban.
this might be the last year. This one,
I thought it was. The plowing never went up when Lee was
You're on mowing, sorry.
mowing.
We sidetracked.
Okay. Because plowing just went up.
Plowing went up quite a lot, yeah.
Does plowing run out when the road commissioner is up for reelection, or is it always on alternate years?
No, it's unrelated.
No.
yeah,
I mean, it's coincidental. but
there were 2
unrelated.
years, because the last plowing contract was a 3-year contract. With the possibility of an extension to a 4-year.
Mm.
The number I'm seeing in the spreadsheet from last year is 11.31.
Overall.
Overall,
For
I
muni-
believe that's
Wow.
overall.
for municipal or?
overall.
Where did you find that number on the spreadsheet?
The bottom. I don't think it was that high.
But do you think that included like education and?
Yeah, it has the.
Here, I can check it here.
I thought the county was higher than that, but anyway.
I'm in.
It would be a good thing to know for next year and
Next meeting.
not do that again this year. Can.
Here, I can,
For
this is
sure.
what I'm looking at. For a document,
Kennebec County.
so
Yeah, you're right, they did go up.
recreation community went up pretty. Substantial,
So that says Kennebec County
27.
27,
Yeah, it went from 411 to 500.
right,
And then
that's
it's-
not what you have on that slide though.
no, this is percentage. No, this is the
Not
percentage
percentage
increase.
increase.
Every year.
That
Oh,
one is the
was
percentage of
budget.
the
I got it,
pie.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your school department behaved well and the county behaved poorly.
And that was, yeah, the year before that, it was like 38,
In county as
county.
well.
and I don't know what it's gonna be this year.
And some of the percentages are, I don't wanna say misleading, but like the cemetery. You know, the inflation finally caught up with them. And it spiked 200%, but we're talking $2,000.30.
Yeah.
30 Mile River Shed, we had given this line for almost a decade, and they came back and said, you know, we need a little bit more.
Everybody wants a little bit more, a
Right.
little bit more, a little bit more,
Um,
and then my tax
Did we
bill
have-
goes up a lot more.
Cutting that, cause I can't remember his name, but the gentleman that stood up and said something about the
No,
tax credit, so we left it at
we left it
5.
at that. Belgrade Lakes Dam maintenance, that's come down again, another like 12%.
Oh, yeah, that was only up because there was one year that they had to fix the Wingsville Dam, so all the towns got assessed a higher value.
I thought it was the one in,
Well,
No, it was
one
the
dam or another.
it was the one in Belgrade
It was
Center.
right in the.
Yeah,
Okay,
the concrete was literally liquefying. They were
Oh, okay, yeah, so it went up for that. There's
Yeah.
been different ones where it goes up for 1
There
year.
was something about the parking lot down at Wings Mills too, that they will do, which they never did, but anyway, they finally did. They said it.
I have,
So
yeah,
I'm just thinking about, you haven't talked about revaluation and factoring and all that stuff, how
that should
that,
be in that.
is that gonna be impacting?
No, they're separate. They're separate but related.
What do you
So,
mean they're separate?
so we did the,
Just gives you a different tax base.
right.
Right,
So
but
what it-
I'm saying, is it gonna be this coming year? That's
So
gonna be-
factoring is this year,
Yeah.
so even
Yeah.
if the
No, I
budget,
know all that, I just, my
Right.
question was, is it gonna happen this coming tax year?
It's gonna be this year.
I think-
Or next year.
Right. so
Yeah.
it'll Be on your 26, 20.
Yeah.
Wait, so
27.
there'll be money spent this spring prior to the next fiscal year on the,
so the factoring, we,
Factoring, how expensive is
That was $5,000.
factoring?
Which we already.
But that's already in the
We already.
budget.
Right.
Put it on that.
so the reval is gonna be on this budget.
okay. But you
And how much was that?
actual reval, not just a crank.
it's
Well, for
going,
2 years, we're gonna do the factoring, then the reval, is that correct? Am I
yeah, so the
understanding that
reval,
right?
it's 18, you have to ask for it now, and then it takes 18 months before they actually do it.
The full-on
The
reval.
full-on
Well, it
reval,
might be even more than that.
right?
They're
So,
backed up to do
right,
revals.
so well,
So to fill that gap,
Well,
the factor.
that we,
fact-
that
we're
factoring.
We're gonna do factoring one time this year, and that should get us up there so that the homestead exemptions and.
come back, so what should happen this year
A lot
is
of some people have a year reprieve.
Oh, no, we don't.
the home values will go up, the mill rate will come down because there's
I
a
don't
bigger
No,
Depends on the
total
budget.
pie to
oh,
tax.
but
Basically, the
Yeah,
pie
I
gets
always say
bigger,
things in the
No.
budget.
you have to tax a smaller portion of it.
you're.
And then
It would.
the homestead exemption should come back, which should in theory offset any increases in the budget. Because the homestead exemptions have
I don't know
come,
about it.
That shouldn't
But
affect
wouldn't go
budget,
that
I
far,
don't
but-
think. Why would a homestead, that's.
because
really-
it exempts how much property you pay taxes on.
No, it's just, it's a line item, isn't it? It's like
Help,
25.
Yeah, right.
Move to the
No,
camp.
no, allow you to do it. That's not the way.
It's not,
It's $25,000.
whatever the amount is, but it's a line item off yourself.
I'm just gonna get involved with my kids. But
I'm gonna pay the bills
because
and
our
let them pay it.
assessment is so low compared to the state tracks are sales prices. And so we're down at 54%.
Yeah.
And so your homestead exemption is gonna be reduced by 48% last year, I think.
Because I remember people were talking about
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but that's a personal thing.
So
That doesn't affect the town for the homestead, it, does it?
I don't. know.
Not in budget
I don't
wise.
think.
Not in the
No.
budget wise, but individual taxes.
No, I agree, but
Yeah.
you said budget. and I-
No, I'm saying it should
It's budget.
offset. If your property taxes go up because the budget goes up, it should help offset some of that,
Well, maybe.
maybe.
I wouldn't put it
Well,
that clearly,
Couple
but.
$100.
The
Right.
last time we did a full reval, my house, I mean, of course, the valuation goes up, but the mill rate goes down, right? And I actually had a big savings at my house, but my camp, there was a big increase, so that generally is what happens. And if it's all one place, you actually live year out on the lake, you're screwed. But yeah,
We didn't
but I actually
do it.
saved money for that first year.
I mean,
Must have been a while ago, because I don't.
I always say, I mean, my philosophy personally is 3% is kind of the kind of that predictive track is whatever inflation is, that's kind of your tolerance to say, if you're under 3%, you're doing okay. If you're over 3%, start digging into the why.
I don't know, yeah, I don't know if it's that simple. I mean, agree that inflation should be a measure that we come back to, but these like road services might be increasing much faster than inflation.
But it's a
The
goal to
school
work
board- the
toward.
School board comes in at 5%. I mean,
And
that would mean, I think it'd be reluctant to go there, because if those things we can't control are way over 3%, in order for us to stay at 3%, we would have. to
no,
be way
I'm not saying,
closer to-
I'm not saying that's when you cut, that's when you evaluate that line for why it's
For
over
each
3,
line.
right?
Okay,
So 3% on the line. I don't know if you can have it. On the municipal side, I think you kind of target that. We don't want the municipal to spike over 3, but the total budget, factoring in school and county, that is what,
I see
that's,
what you're saying, that makes more sense.
I'm saying,
The only one I
Right,
would
so you
be would
just-
be the road maintenance thing, because that's sort of out of our control
right,
too.
because Lee,
All in our control.
Well,
It is.
It really, I agree with you,
Yeah.
except,
Everything is negotiable.
people say the
Contracts
school
are
is,
negotiable.
the school can be in our control too, because we vote on it. And if you don't like it, don't vote for it.
if the other towns,
That's true, but
I mean, I'll use last year. I mean, so I was watching results come in for the budget, school budget last year, and Manchester, Reedfield, and Wayne dropped pretty much simultaneously, and it was like 75% for. Mount Vernon dropped and it dropped into the low sixties.
Right, and that's
I don't-
typical though, I think.
Dropped what, I'm sorry.
So
The
the school
people that
budget to
voted
pass,
for the budget,
it's you,
school
it's
budget.
all four towns vote and it's the total yes votes. So one town can vote the budget down and the budget still passes. But Mount Vernon only passed it by like 55% compared to the other towns at 75.
Okay, now I got you.
So it made it closer than it had been
Right.
for
And,
the
you
four
know,
years I was on the board.
For the 25 years I've been involved in Marina Cook, they've never not passed the budget, which is fine. But I think when we say we don't have control, there are some things. Joe Petrosky, he's always saying, call me if you've got
Mhm.
ideas. What do you want? What, he doesn't like the budget. He's the county commissioner.
Yeah,
Being that high either through the county. What can we do? What can we do? I mean, and maybe we don't have control over the school if just the town of Mount Vernon doesn't vote for it, but we've got to control some of this because inflation is going up and my income is not going up. So,
I occasionally go to the school board meetings and nobody goes to them. So
Yeah,
you don't have that feedback.
right, that's the way it's all. For 25 years that I know of.
They
Or-
are
or
public
that.
participation can be a little weird on Zoom because I know they're changing their policy, but those are on Zoom.
Yeah.
And you can click on, and they're really good about getting those on YouTube.
I just feel that we as a town, there's wonderful things that we'd love to have in this town. But I think we need to tighten our belts a little bit and really think about what we want and what we need to keep what we've got.
Up to 3%.
And even up to 3%.
I don't know, but we have to have something to.
Right,
go
I say
towards.
0%.
That would be amazing.
I say.
I mean,
Negative
know.
one.
You're gonna have to cut that.
Well, I'm not opposed to cutting. I always used to say that at school too. I'm not opposed to cutting.
I've eaten a
No,
lot
I
of ramen in my life.
Yeah, I think the school has some places they could cut. And the other thing I always wonder is, I go back to what John Harker says all the time. Why do we have so much undesignated funds? And
well, we don't have that much left over.
Well, because we
The
spent
fire
that. We're
trucks and
spending
everything.
it.
But we're
Talk
getting the
about the
bridge
school.
back, right?
No, we're talking
It's
about both, really, both.
You know, I asked Bob about that. To be honest, I wish he were here and I'd probably say this in front. I asked what it had been through the years. How much is it that we would get this much? And he said about 30,000.
What do you mean? What's that? 30,000?
Then,
Carried?
really like 20 years worth of.
Yeah.
30,000 is carryover each year? Is that what you said?
Well, don't forget, every time you set the budget in late July, you set the overlay amount, which is that extra bit that you raise in taxes that isn't necessarily related to your spending. So that is something that the treasurer and the select board make that decision together.
Right.
You can increase the overlay to get a little more rainy day undesignated, or you can narrow it down for a year, which would cut the taxes a little bit. And I'm not advocating either way. I'm just saying
No,
it's a
I
decision
understand.
that the select board has to
Right.
make.
Did
Yeah,
we pull
you know.
2 years of expenses out of it too on hold? Is that too much? Was it 2 years? I'm sorry. What we pulled out of undesignated funds, wasn't it? Was it 2 years of expenses or two?
No, it's months. The thing about undesignated is, once you get to the latter half of the year, so you get into March, April, May, your taxes have already been paid, right? If you get some big bills coming in, you still have to pay them legally. So you have to have a little bit of float there,
Is it
so
4
it's
months?
a cushion.
That's what I mean, but isn't that in undesignated funds, is that cushion, correct?
Yeah.
Well, the cushion is in there, yeah.
Okay.
I want to
Treasurer's
say,
generally like 2 to 3
I thought it
months
was
worth of
4
bills, Dorcas. Something like that, yeah.
So where did all that money that we invested come from? I mean, how much was that? Like $5 million?
I don't think it was.
4
all that
million?
much.
4 million?
I think there was, from what I understood,
It
it
was
was,
6 at that meeting.
I think it was, what do we say? I think it was 6 million, but of that 2 million of it was that to the
Just in
stick,
case.
the just in case.
Right, so we've got $3 million that would, I'm just gonna
And we
say,
spent 1 million of it.
overtaxed people. Are over budgeted for the town. I just feel like we're at the point where we have to tighten our belts and start thinking about do we really need all of this in this town?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened with the state built up the rainy day fund at record levels, so now they're talking about. You know, drawing that down to ease the state tax burden, the town can look at it. the
She already
same way.
gave that money away, I would be.
But I think,
aware of that.
I think when you,
Wait,
when you
that's
draw,
the way-
but drawing it down for not some new project, I mean, that's what I.
Let's think about what it's going to now, though, it's going to the fire engine.
Oh, I understand
And
that.
it's going finally to the reevaluation.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wasn't there
And
something
Blake Hill.
else?
The bridge.
Yeah, but we're getting that 50%, 60% of
still-
that back, right?
Three or four
Right.
feet into it.
But
And we're trying
to get that, they spiked the bridge price. So the bridge price went from 900,000
It's
to
11 million. Or
1.1 million.
100,000.
That's new.
But that was
So
the,
we're getting, we have to pay five, didn't we?
5
Yeah.
tax.
That's
back.
So 600,000, so
No,
that's.
that was.
when we first started that, we
was-
were only gonna have
Oh,
to spend
was?
six.
well,
Yeah.
because it took so long.
Okay.
We had.
Should we know that number by next week? I
900.
don't know. if
And
that's-
And we
Well,
had
I-
That's fun.
below that.
I think
That,
it ties in
Right.
importantly.
That's what I thought.
yeah,
Get
I
it from,
think-
get it from the people.
So anyway, that's.
I was
just my-
asking for it
I'll
for
get off my
the
soapbox.
kind of pushing all of that discussion until March. Get the operations done. And then circle back to undesignated once you have operations.
Yeah, I think that would give Dorcas and the select board time to evaluate where we're at.
Why can't we know what it is tomorrow? Isn't it like a,
We're not,
in
we
there?
don't have all the stuff in from Sage into Trio.
Still,
But I think
But
it's
you
just
should be able to look at your account and be like, we have
Yeah,
$6
that's the
or
goal.
$5.
that's the goal, working on it.
eventually. I think it's just important for us to keep that in the back of our minds, you know, what,
Are you still
There's a lot of-
switching over
where-
from people?
as we work.
Classified, but not already classified that we're trying to
The
sort through.
FY 25 was on Sage.
So I just, you know,
Beach Street.
I keep going back, what do we need compared to what we want?
Yep. No,
Okay.
I think that's,
So it's a difficult time.
I'm trying to get-
I try to.
Well, not that I'm with them, not on the committee.
You are on the committee.
The rubber hits the road, and what are you talking about? I mean, what, there's a fewer transfer station
What I'm
hours?
talking about is when I
Lower-
write out my check for $15,000 for my property tax.
Line by line by line, we figure it out. That's what this
This,
is.
yes, the transfer station,
Fewer hours?
no,
No,
there's
well-
some things that are going on there that don't need to go on there. There's, I
Okay.
mean,
There's 5 different contracts there that can be renegotiated. There's all kinds of room everywhere.
yeah, so that, you know, if we've got all this money that goes into undesignated funds, I think we need to really look at the budget. I mean,
Well, I agree with you on that.
and, you
I agree
know,
with you on
Why are we-
undesignated funds. I don't understand that. I haven't from the
why are we
beginning.
putting
I've
so
been
much?
confused about it from day one.
And
Or
everyone in
working.
town should understand it, even at just the basic level and what that amount is.
Right,
And
the only,
why did we go from 30,000 to 6 million? I don't know. It sounds like it was over
It
time.
was never at 30,000.
No, it was.
So that was like-
Per year.
yeah.
Oh,
that's what
carry
Bob-
over. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's at the FY 24 balance sheet. And I'm still getting used to all of these things, but I see total government funds unassigned fund balance, 2,872,000.
Yeah, that's typical.
Yeah.
That's typical.
And that's on the report. I say I'm still getting up to speed. We're rolling forward. The numbers and working now on the FY 25 audit from last June. Hope to have that done within a couple of months. But
Probably not before we finish though.
If you look at the overall town
It
balance,
will
be.
Oh, okay.
it's like, what, 300 million there or something? You know, a $2 million undesignated fund balance isn't big proportional. But either way, I think it would be great to have, once,
Where did 300 million come
You know,
from?
do me a favor, Paul, explain, it's a really interesting thing you just said, explain that to me, because I don't know what you mean. The evaluation versus.
Oh, sorry.
undesignated.
yeah,
I mean, the whole town valuation, a lot of different formulas like school funding and other things tie in with that.
This is what the property in the
Yeah.
town is worth.
Right, I don't know
All
where
the
it's at
value
now,
together.
it went from like 240, 250 and skyrocketed.
So if it's
Wow.
300, 400 million,
Yeah.
that total valuation, what you're
Right.
saying is a government.
There is, all I'm saying is there's a correlation,
Okay.
I can't represent what a good or bad correlation is, but there is a correlation, that's all.
You're saying that doesn't seem to be out of whack for the 300 million town valuation.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Okay.
I'm no expert, I'm not an
No, I'm
economist,
just
but
trying to get.
there's something there, but I think that once you know, I know you guys are in the process of
This is a catch-up year.
transitioning, you know, from one accounting system to another.
This is what we're talking about, right?
But once we have our,
Evaluation, I remember that the other day.
once we have that well understood, you know, whether it's Dorcas, the auditors, you know, other, you know, economist type viewpoints, it would be great to hear what the recommendation is, you know, and there are recommendations. I don't have one. I don't know.
What are we recommending?
How much to
Just
have
talking
in
about
that.
Oh, for the
undesignated-
Right.
For reasonable under the designated
Got
fund
ya.
balances. Yeah,
And the school does the same thing. I mean, there's a big.
There's
there's a-
school, I think runs about, the last number I had is like, they'll run throughout the year. Like 2 to 3 million, it's a percentage of the budget, I think it's like 10 I think it was 10. It was 5, then it went to 10, and now it's like 7%. And then what they do is they take $1 million out of it and carry it forward. So it helps stabilize the year to year, and then they run that same number again, but they carry forward almost all of it.
Right, but also a lot of that money goes to, salaries and benefits
Right.
over the period of time after they've gotten the money from the towns.
Yeah.
right.
And they're not getting any more money from the towns
Yeah.
till a certain date, so they have to have
Not
that
so you
extra
chip in
money.
your 50.
It's basically your savings.
It
I
basically,
keep mine
because property
every-
taxes don't
every-
come in until September, so they have to run a gap
From Ju-
I got that.
from
yeah,
basically
It's your
July
savings
to
account,
August.
so all we need to know is what is the best recommendation by,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
in
sorry,
Dorcas's defense, or to help her, there should, if it doesn't exist, this accounting policy, because we shouldn't be rehashing this every year. It should be a formula that.
Right.
Follow every year.
I agree.
Another paragraph for you to write.
and there is another piece of the whole school budget. At one point, they voted to return that to the towns. Some of that undesignated funds to the towns
I remember.
to
Was that last year?
alleviate the tax burden on the taxpayers.
But it didn't
So-
happen.
Yeah, it did.
It
It
did?
has happened. I mean, it's been several times they've done that. They
Okay.
have done it.
I think that's what was.
It returned to the towns. I don't know where it went from there.
Into undesignated, I
Oh, okay.
believe.
So it didn't
What?
reach us.
I think it went into undesignated, because that was that first meeting I went to, and that.
From the towns, I mean, from the
From the
school
schools,
to.
and more than one year.
I think so,
would
So
be-
that was the big jump.
That's what I think.
even though it was
I-
supposed to go to
sitting where Carl
alleviate
was.
the tax payers
Yeah, it
in
was
the
the
towns.
first
I think it
meeting.
ended up in the undesignated
Yeah.
funds. Which people say would alleviate the taxpayer burden, but.
Well, until we know that amount.
I don't know, I'm just go back to, we have to tighten our belt and look at every dollar.
But either way, John,
Every line.
Let's see, let's
Every
see what you're
line.
gonna cut.
I can tell you this right now.
Look at that.
it's always a challenge. Little fun. All right,
But,
so what's the next step?
That's what I had on the agenda for tonight. I just want to make sure we're all kind of on the same page of how this is all gonna work and what we're looking at.
It's the next meeting, same, I'm sorry, Karen, the same night,
Yep.
next week, same time.
Same time,
Six.
yes,
Okay.
I personally didn't want to go up Saturdays for budget
No,
work,
no, it's fine.
so.
I agree with that, but I have one question
Yeah.
though. For budget meetings, hearings that you know are going to be very well attended.
Yeah.
I wonder if you should move down the hill.
I'm, after tonight, seeing how full this room is, I'll probably call Daphne
Yeah,
and
because
see
it
if we
it can
can
get
get.
pretty crowded. In
certainly for
in
the
the middle of
hearings.
flu season.
The hearings, the
I hope
hearings
it-
I've already
I really-
booked,
I
yeah.
hope it is, because people need to have information, not just go to the town meeting and drag it on for 6 hours.
Because they didn't,
All
they didn't have the
the-
information. What about, one of your things on there I thought was like, kind of like. Say Kathy and I are diametrically opposed to something, and we're like, no, what's like. Conflict resolution, or I don't know.
This isn't where we're voting, the town meeting votes on it.
Well,
But if we're
The
making
recommendations.
recommendations,
Yeah.
and
I
you two
think-
were like, yeah, and we're like, oh, but very,
I think it would go to simple majority.
okay.
I'd go to simple majority of the whole, of everybody present.
And then, because you're in the fire department, would you recuse yourself from just that?
Yeah,
Is
I helped draft the budget, so.
Are
yes.
there, are there any other conflicts like that?
Technically, my uncle is the road commissioner.
Down in this town, you just
This
connect
town.
or just everything.
To be fair,
Nepotism.
I'm gonna,
Report for 50 years.
Okay.
Say after
September,
camp.
but you're asking me for-
Listen, it's a small town, so, yeah.
I know, but there's.
Either way.
I have another question related to this,
Yep.
because no, so this is a recommendation, not to this is a recommendation to the select board.
So yeah, I
The select
recommend,
board then had the opportunity to change it.
yeah,
That's right. And again, I've always viewed this as more eyes on the stuff and, you know, if we can find $5 or 500,000, either way, it's more eyes on
It all
it.
adds up.
like,
Either-
I'll use an example, like salaries. We'll probably give a recommendation on salaries, but the actual salary negotiation with the employee would be by the select board.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can say like, probably should be in this range. But the board would, you know, have that performance evaluation and then make a determination of how much the employee raises, and then that number would get inputted in.
right, and then the town votes on.
Yeah.
Yay, nay, or.
And actually, this year will be different in that regard, because you're taking on one elected position and making it appointed, and you gotta make
Right.
sure you can hire somebody for whatever the budget is that you set.
Do you guys did that go out for a job, sorry,
Not yet.
We're voting on the
Yeah,
job
okay.
description next Monday.
okay, so it's getting that.
Yeah.
And that'll be a budget thing, right, cause it'll be 32 versus 40 hours?
Yep.
Yes, because it's
Yep.
hard to find somebody. Yeah, we went
Okay.
to 40 to,
Unless you're reorganizing the whole structure of the,
which
We are.
we are.
which may not impact the budget.
$5,
Okay.
reorganizing the
I
right
thi-
way.
I was
Yeah.
doing some math on it, and
I
it
don't know what
might,
that looks
it
like.
might be more of a wash,
Yeah,
because if you,
it probably would.
because I think,
Hours, Kathy.
I think it was
but a
fewer,
little higher pay.
Yeah. you
because you're
have more
consolidating 3
flexibility.
part-time positions into a full-time position. So
Right.
it's,
Or position.
Right, I mean, if there's all
It's-
those little moving parts
it's like
that
a,
have to come together.
we're
so
the
any
way that
time might
we've
be a
been
wash.
looking at it, it's like taking deputy clerk, deputy treasurer, and the admin assistant and kind of fusing that down into one full-time role. If it's doable, with the workloads. So that position, because there's so much on it, would command a higher salary to get somebody qualified in. So I think on net, it's a wash, maybe a percentage higher.
But something to consider when we're,
Yeah,
Right,
but you guys are doing
Right.
that next Monday? We'll have,
I
we'll
think,
know that.
I think town clerk is going out.
Job description,
okay.
Yeah,
not the salary,
Yeah.
It's coming Monday.
That
Yeah.
was part of the municipal.
Won't be here next week.
budgets.
yeah.
Okay.
So it would be really nice to think about cross-training people so that the town office can be open when it can't be
That.
open.
Yeah.
But a lot of the other towns do that, you know, people are cross-trained so
do.
that.
Absolutely. Kathy, we talked about.
Yeah,
That's why it was voted to make the change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I
the
know.
plan.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll
That's
be
a
good,
try.
that'll be good.
As
Yes, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
thanks, Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler. Nice job.
Mhm. Who wants to run the fire budget meeting then next meeting?
I won't be
I
here.
nominate you.
I won't be here either.
No, I don't think you should.
Good.
Do you think you should?
I mean.
Yeah.